Between 1659 and 1661, Massachusetts Bay Colony executed Marmaduke Stevenson, William Robinson, Mary Dyer, and William Ledra. All of these four victims were part of the Quakers within New England during this time period, and they will ultimately be seen as martyrs for religious freedom. Now, Jill McIndoe actually wrote a poem in regards to the death of Mary Dyer, in which she brings up how she had no weapons on her and they just wantingly executed her for being a Quaker. Now, this is not necessarily the case as we analyze the nuance and the context surrounding these events, because Anne Miles, who actually wrote From Monster to Martyr, representing Mary Dyer, she actually says her transformation from a silenced object to speaking object, from Etonian monster to Quaker martyr, is a story that receives little attention here in the United States. And it's actually Carla Pesnata that actually answers that and kind of explains why that happened and the change in historiography over time. And in her thesis, she actually states, Quakers invented this criticism of early Puritans based on created historiographical tradition, as the Quakers and Puritans struggled to present themselves in the confrontation in accordance with their own developing mythic images. To put that in short, the Puritans came here for religious freedom. They look like hypocrites because of the fact they are executing Quakers who supposedly are coming there for religious freedom as well. Now, the way that the Quakers presented themselves was that later on would be as pacifists, as quietists. However, in this time period, they're much more confrontational, and they had these doomsday prophecies. And so, by and large, the Massachusetts Bay Colony was not seen as a place as religious freedom like that of Plymouth. But again, that's not necessarily the case even in Plymouth, because it's actually Charles Brewster who drew up 7 articles for the company explaining their religious beliefs, in which he states the king could appoint bishops, civil overseers, or officers in authority to oversee the churches and govern them civilly according to the laws of the land. So again, memory does not serve the American public well in this case. And after these deaths in New England, after these executions, the Quakers took advantage of this quite quickly, of publicizing these events. And depending upon if it was an English audience, they would leave out their doomsday prophecies because there was a connection between doomsday prophecies and martyrdom, okay? George Bishop, for example, was a Quaker. He wrote of the martyrs embraced each other with fervency of love, gladness of heart, and peace with God, and praise to the Lord. So he emphasized they died joyously. Okay, so there was also this calling for New England to repent for their sins, and you know, they used the examples of King Philip's War, which decimated the New England population, as punishment for executing those 4 Quakers. And over time, there would still be some that would be more confrontational, but some Quakers wanted to try to put to rest this idea that they could be confrontational. Okay, in 1700, Daniel Gould defended the martyrs as innocent, harmless, and patient. Okay, God was with them and bore them through with heavenly cheerfulness. Joseph Best published a chronicle of Quaker sufferings that are closer to the conformity of attitudes with his own generation during this time. So by the 1700s, the Quaker propaganda actually really took hold of the historiography of these specific events. Now, it's not like the Puritans didn't have a response to this. They did, all right? They defended these actions because they said that Quakerism threatened civil government, okay? Even Mathers emphasized this point, okay? So the colony was new. and any type of civil disobedience could possibly result in the destruction of their colony. Also, Norton believed that the doctrine of this sect was destructive, believed Christians should obey the magistrates. Okay, this was actually a Christian argument that, they said that Christians are supposed to obey them. And the General Court discussed other religious implications of the Quaker threat. Now, over time, the Puritans would lose the initiative in regards to defending themselves of these events, and the Quakers took opportunity of these kind of political catastrophes within the New England colony to say, these are hypocrites. They do not stand for religious freedom or religious liberty. We do. And that actually very much took hold within the United States. So the Puritans abandoned the fact that they killed Quakers as dangerous heretics. And the Quakers successfully rewrote their past in accordance with their mystical imagery of pacifism. The martyrs were seen as dedicated yet quiet, inspired by great acts yet humble. Okay, and this Quaker image within New England history has entered the American psyche, and we remember it that way. And now I just want to share with you one image of that today. This is an image of Mary Dyer. This is her statue in Boston. And if you can see what it says here just below, witness for religious freedom.